beginning of year, when you're using Circulation Desk, you'll need to first check your lending rules to make sure they're all up to date. To demonstrate the type of issue you need to check, I'll go into Circulation Desk and use the browse function and just choose a class, maybe Year 3 green. We'll choose a borrower, Andre, and the message, the circulation expiry date has passed. It's displayed on the screen. This is going to appear for all the people in that same category. I'll click Browse again, choose a different borrower, Eric Tran. The circulation expiry date has passed. The circulation expiry date is the date when everything is due at the end of the year, the very last date when things are due. And this needs to be reviewed each year. The circulation expiry date is located in the management area in the lending rules area. So I'll just leave Circulation Desk and we go into management, and just noting that I'm logged in as an administrator. So administrator has access to the management area where I can change these settings. If you are using Circulation Desk using the kiosk setup, you won't be able to do what I'm doing now. You will need to log in as a library administrator with that level of security. So I'll click on Management, and then from the Circulation menu in Management, I'll go to Lending Rules. Lending Rules is where you can determine different categories of borrowers, their circulation expiry date, their cut-off dates, and how many items you're allowed to have and how long they can loan them for. And we can see that for Year 3, the Year 3 borrow loan category at the top of the screen, its circulation expiry date is displayed in a different colour. It's displayed in pink, which means the date is in the past. To change the circulation expiry date, you simply click on it. I'll just change this to be the same as the others. I'll make it the 1st of December 2023, and you can use the calendar icon to change this if you need to. Then click Update. And the Year 3 circulation expiry date or cut-off date has been changed accordingly. Just before we go back to Circulation Desk to see the effect this has made, I'll just move along to the right. And we can see that Year 12 is actually a fairly early date. It's 2nd of October. And this is to take into account the HSC exams. So the 2nd of October is just before the HSC exams. So when you're setting your expiry dates, determine whether you need to be before the exams start or after the exams, depending whether they need the textbooks or not for that period of time. Also, you'll notice that Year 11 is set to the 30th of November. And in some schools, the Year 11 students are given their textbooks for Year 12 at the end of the year. So at the end of the year, you might need to change Year 11's cutoff date to be the following year. So in this example, we might change this to be 2024, but we'd only make this change at the end of the year in term 4 when we're setting up their Year 12 textbook loans. Just go back to Circulation Desk again. I'll use the Browse button again. And I've got my Year 3 students on the screen still. I'll choose someone else, say Adam. And this time that message about the circulation expiry date isn't popping up on the screen anymore. So changing the lending rules, circulation expiry date, fix that problem up straight away. I'll just go back to Circulation Desk, the lending rules again. In the lending rules, the borrow loan categories are typically listed alphabetically from left to right. If there's any borrow loan categories that you don't necessarily need to see, perhaps external, you can change the order of the borrow loan categories as listed across the top. As I mentioned, the default order is alphabetical order. If you need to change the order otherwise, at the top of the screen there's a button labeled Set BLC Display Order. BLC is short for Borrower Loan Category. When you select BLC Display Order, the borrow loan categories are listed, and to change the order they're displayed in, you can highlight one and use the up and down arrows to shuffle the order. I might just move external to the end. Right at the end now, click on Save. And the lending rules table is redrawn. And if we just scroll to the right of the screen, we can see the externals now on the far right-hand side. So when you're looking at the borrow loan category display order, the item displayed at the top of the list is on the left-hand side, and the borrow loan category at the bottom of the list is displayed on the right-hand side of the screen. Another thing to consider at the beginning of the year when you're reviewing your lending rules is just check the quantities of items that people are allowed to have. We can see that, for example, kindergartens are allowed to have one loan, which is just either a fiction or a non-fiction. And when you move up to, say, Year 6, you're allowed 4 loans. There can be, maybe 2 fiction or 2 non-fiction, or for fiction, no fiction. So you might just consider how many items you're allowed to have. You might say, okay, year one was pretty good last year. Let's allow them to have more than one loan at a time. To change a loan limit, which is the quantity of loans you're allowed to have at each time, you click the limit and just change the number. You decide to have 2. Click on Save. When the table redraws, we can see that now year one's allowed to have 2 loans at a time. Looking at the rules as well, sometimes there's what are called fixed due dates. So some of the lending rules are set up as number of days. Staff can have fiction loans for 28 days. Staff can have heavy demand non-fiction for 28 days. But it appears that staff are allowed to have teacher reference until the end of the year. Again, this is a date that's displayed with a pink background. And anytime you see a lending rule with a pink background, it means it needs some attention. In this case, if teachers are allowed to have teacher reference resources for the whole year, it needs to be the date at the end of the year. In this case, it's the end of last year, so let's click on that date and just change the date accordingly. Just need to type the date in this case. The format is day / month / 4-digit year. Let's click on Save. As we scroll down, we can see that now staff can loan textbooks, teacher reference resources till the end of the year, 1st of December. So regardless of when the loan item due in 2023, it'll be due on the 1st of December. Another thing to look at with the lending rules is during COVID, we set up a few different rules to cater for, first of all, loaning IT equipment, like laptops and iPads and other type of IT equipment for some students. And also we set up a pickup booking time, which allowed students and staff to book times so they come to the library to pick up resources when the library staff are available. As these 2 items aren't really used anymore, it's a bit annoying to see them at the top of the screen all the time. You have to scroll past them. So the quick and easy way to make them not show is just to rename them. These headings are called loan limit types and describe how many items you're allowed to have. They're displayed alphabetically. So to make them appear at the very bottom of the screen, to essentially hide them, we can go to the lending rules menu in the top right-hand corner, open the loan limit types, and just change the names. So for IDT loan equipment, we'll just use the edit button on the right. Just pop an X in front of it and click Save. Let's say we don't want to show that anymore. And the same for library pickup booking. We might edit that one. Again, put X in front of the name. Probably don't want it to show either. Circulation, just click No and click Save. So those 2 now have X's in front of them. If we return to the lending rules table, you can see that the ITD loan equipment and the library pickup are now towards the bottom of the screen, which means you can quickly and easily see our regular loan rules on the screen. Just for completeness, if you see an X on the lending rules table, it means the loan is not allowed. So in this case, year one is not allowed to loan equipment. Year one is not allowed to loan heavy demand. And it looks like no one's allowed to loan not for loan items. So an X in the case of lending rules would mean loan not allowed. If a year one student attempted to loan a piece of equipment, an unauthorized loan message would be displayed on the screen, which could be overridden if required. But otherwise, it's a way of just restricting what different borrower categories can loan. The beginning of the year is a good time to review your reservations policy for the library. In other words, how many reservations are each type of borrower allowed to have at a time? Do they keep last year's reservations or do you clear them out? And what to do if there's lots of reservations on an item? So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to circulation and look at borrower loan categories. In the borrower loan categories area, you can determine how many reservations each different category of borrowers is allowed to have at a time. In this example, preschool is allowed to have no reservations at all. And as you progress through the grades, as you get into higher grades, you're allowed more reservations. So kindergarten can have 2, year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 can have 5, and then eventually you get allowed to have 10 reservations. You can review this as you go throughout the year as well. At the moment, it says that staff can have 50 reservations. If you find that students aren't using it correctly or effectively, you might even reduce or make it larger. So as an example, you might say, I'm going to decide I'd like Year 7 students to have 5 reservations at a time. You could use the edit button, simply change your reservation limit to a lower number. Again, this number can be changed any time you like throughout the year, but the beginning of the year is a good time to review it. Another thing to check is, are you allowed to reserve things that are available? Oliver allows you to determine which items can be reserved based on their status. So in the management area, the management menu, under statuses, one of the attributes of each status is it reservable? At the moment, available items, the available status, are reservable. This means people can place a hold on something even if it's on the shelf. You might decide that you only want reservations to occur if the item is unavailable, if it's on loan already. If you need to change that, you can simply click the edit button and just change the reservable option to no. And saving that, you can now see that available items are not reservable. In other words, you can only reserve items that are on loan. Again, to change it back, just click edit again. And you might say yes if you change your mind at any stage. Often moving between years, you will also have some reservations still present in the system. So students may have made reservations in the previous year and they may not have been fulfilled due to various circumstances, such as other students didn't bring back the items on time, or they just forgot to pick them up, etc. So if we go to circulation and reservations, you can see a list of all the reservations that are currently in the system that have not been fulfilled or picked up, etc. A few strategies here. You could ask the students to go into their own accounts, their own search accounts, and look at their reservations and delete any reservations they don't want anymore. Or you could ask them to make the reservations last a little longer. Another strategy is you can go into the reservations area where we are now, and you could remove reservations one at a time, such as number 6, Apollo 13. You see it's reserved by Jack Spratt, and to remove the reservation, you just click delete. So you can remove reservations one at a time. If you want to start the new year with just a fresh slate, a fresh empty system with no reservations, in other words, if any reservations were made in the previous year, we're starting afresh again, you could simply go to the reservations drop-down menu and choose delete reservations. And this basically does a blanket delete all reservations across the board. Just click delete and they'll all be gone, starting with a fresh slate. So there's a few things there to consider at the beginning of the year with regards to your reservation policies. The beginning of the year is a good time to check to make sure your roll class information is up to date. Roll classes are maintained from the circulation menu under roll classes. And you can see how many borrowers are attached to each roll class. For newly added students, they won't necessarily have a roll class assigned to them at the beginning of the year until the school has determined which classes are going to exist. This might take a few weeks at the beginning of the year for the school to establish which classes will exist based on student numbers. In this case, we can see there's 2 students over roll class, and the other roll classes may not be up to date until, again, the schools determine which roll class are going to exist that year. If there's any roll classes that have a very small number, such as 6 black, you can see who's attached by clicking on the number on the left. This is 1 borrower, which is 6 black. The 6 black roll class cannot be removed from Oliver until the last borrower has been removed. In this case, Chris Stone is still in the system because they've got a loan, and there's no delete button across the top of the screen. And in fact, students are removed automatically at the end of the year once they've left the school, but if they've still got loans, they'll remain in the system. To remove Chris Stone from the system, we must first remove the loans. And to do this, we need to go to Circulation Desk. On the Loan tab page in Circulation Desk, we'll search for Chris. And Chris has a loan there. To remove the loan, normally you'd go to the Return tab page and scan in the barcode. In this case, though, because Chris has left the school and no longer there, we can't scan the barcode in. we need to use what's called the terminate loans function. Terminate loans is a button on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It's not available in the circulation desk kiosk area. It's only available when you're logged in as a library administrator. To use terminate loans, first of all, you select the borrower, in this case Chris, put a tick next to each loan you'd like to remove from their name. So in this case, we want to remove the sticky cheese vacation, and click the terminate loans button. Once you've chosen the terminate loans button, you can specify whether you want to remove all loans or just selected loans. In this case, it's both the same. What status should be set? Probably set to missing. What's the reason? It was lost by Chris. Chris didn't bring it back. This is editable if you need to. To remove the loan, then you could simply click return. If you click return, it would simply take the item off Chris's name as a normal return and change the status of the item as missing. However, to keep it even cleaner, you could simply click weed. Weed would remove the item from the collection altogether. If the item did turn up in the future, you could always recatalog that item very quickly and easily and just use the same barcode on it. In this case, I'll just demonstrate how the weed function works. First of all, it goes to the return tab page and returns the item, and then it takes you straight to the weeding screen. We can confirm that you wish to remove the item. While we're weeding it, lost by a past student. And then again, part of the weeding process, we weeded the copy, the barcode record. It's then saying, hey, let's check to see if that was the very last copy. If it was the very last copy, we'd also like to remove the title record, the resource record. In this case, when we click the button, it is the very last one. So again, we'll click confirm to remove that title record. And while we're removing title, last copy by past student, confirm. That's removed it completely from Oliver. Now, if we just go back now, we can use UR here to do this. We can use UR here. We can see Chris's Stones details are still in the history of where we've been. And we can delete Chris. Okay. It deletes removed from Oliver. If we go back to the circulation and role classes, we can see that the role class that Chris was in, 6 black, now has no borrowers attached. There's a couple of ways we could remove this. One way is we could go to the role classes menu and choose delete unused role classes. Just click yes, that will remove that role class. If you just like to remove an individual role class, you can simply click on the number next to it and click delete from there as well. Any new role classes that are created by schools will automatically be added to student records in due course. If you find after a few weeks students still don't have the correct role classes, this first few weeks after coming back to school, please contact the library information officers and they can go behind the scenes and see if they can force the information to be added. So don't contact EdConnect in the first instance. Please contact the library information officers in the first instance, but do wait a couple of weeks at the beginning of the year until the classes have been established. There's a few functions in Circulation Desk which allow you to manage existing loans and overdue loans, especially when students return to the school. In Circulation Desk, you can also use the Browse button to select a class. So in this case, I'm going to click Browse, choose a class, which is in this case 10 yellow, and you can see everyone in that class. When you've got a list of students on the screen, if any of the students have overdue items, they can be printed out straight away, either as a group notice, which is a list suitable to give to a teacher, or as individual notices designed to give to individual students. If you just want to see on the screen who has overdues from a particular class, in the Highlight Borrowers area, you could click Overdue Loans, and those particular borrowers will be highlighted accordingly. We'll select Alan, an example. When you select a borrower who has overdues, it shows a message that they've got overdues. You need to make a decision. Are they allowed to continue loaning, yes or no? The tick means yes, the cross means no. And any overdue items they have will be displayed with a red background in the date due. There's a couple of ways of changing the due date of these loans. First of all, if you just want to change an individual item's due date, you could click the calendar icon next to due date and select from the calendar. Make sure you actually click on a date. Alternatively, if you wanted to renew the loan, you could click on the date itself, and this would extend the loan from today's date for the duration of the loan. If you like all the items to have the same due date, you can do them all in one step by using the forced due date. So with forced due date, you simply click on the calendar. You might nominate maybe the end of next year, 2023 should say. And then if I use the renew option, it will extend the loan to the date in the forced due date option instead. Make sure when you've finished using these dates, you click the LR button or lending rules button to revert to the standard rules, not that forced rule. If you'd like to renew them all at the same time, you can click the renew selected loans button. That will renew all the loans that are ticked on the left-hand side. Or you can click the renew overdue loans button, which has a little clock on it. This will renew all the loans which have a red background. When you finish with a borrower, good practice says click finish to clear the details from the screen. If you need to produce a report for Alan, either printed or email, you've got three report options. The first of these is print new loans, print selected loans are the loans that are ticked, and the print overdue loans, that's the print button with a clock on it. Only the red loans will be included in that case. When you select one of the report options, you've got the option to either email it to them, print as a document, or just display the information on the screen. The email option can include cover images as well. So once you've chosen a relevant option, then click submit and download the relevant report. Remember, good practice is when you finish with a borrower or group of borrowers, click the finish button just to clear the details from the screen. At the moment, I'm logged into Oliver using the Circulation Desk kiosk. And what this means is when I select borrowers, such as that class before, there are certain buttons that aren't appearing at the bottom of the screen, such as terminate loans. If you need to do other functions such as terminating loans, you would need to log in as an administrator. So as I mentioned, I'm logged in as the kiosk mode. If you haven't logged in as Circulation Desk kiosk mode before, you can contact the library information officers for the credentials or the information instructions on how to set up your computer in Circulation Desk mode. It's basically a Circulation Desk mode that anyone can use, which has restricted access to for the day-to-day functions. Let's click finish to clear the last borrower from the screen. Also, when you're logged in as Circulation Desk mode, in the kiosk mode, there's also certain functions behind the scenes you can't see. In the top right-hand corner, I can't see the management icon, so I can't go behind the scenes and look at borrowers or run overdue notices, etc. from here. You would need to log in as administrator to do that. Other things you could do as administrator include changing the colours of the tabs. In this training system, I've got the loan tab page coloured green and the return tab page coloured red. The colours of the loan return tabs can be adjusted by you if you're logged in as the system administrator. End video. At the beginning of the year, once all students' roll classes have been finalised and assigned to them, you may wish to print out either ID cards or barcode lists. This can be done quickly and easily through the circulation menu and borrowers. So if we go to the circulation menu and choose borrowers, let's choose a class, say 10 yellow, search that class, and this will show all the borrowers in that class. And then we can run a report. We can either select the report button at the top of the screen or select report from the borrowers drop-down menu. A couple of different types of report you might like to use. For example, you might want to print a borrower barcode sheet, 30 borrowers per page. And this will list all of the students' names and their barcodes. Just to show you what an example looks like, it lists their name and a scannable copy of the barcode. Quite useful for using in Circulation Desk. So select the report, choose the format, I'll choose PDF as an example, click the Go button in the top left-hand corner and download the report. And there's a list of all the borrowers' names and a scannable version of their barcode or their student ID. This barcode can then be used in Circulation Desk to select them. Another list of borrower report you might like to run is borrower ID cards. Oliver has a report which even includes their photos if you have them available. So again, the process in the borrowers menu, choose a class. I'll just choose that same class again in yellow. Search. Select the report option. This time I'll choose the business cards size with images borrower cards. And this time I might choose Word format. Click on the Go button to produce the report. And when the report's ready, click the download link. As you can see, there's some ID cards there where it reads Oliver Training 120. That'll be your school name that's appearing. In this example that I've provided today, I've done the whole class at the same time. If you just want to print one ID card, you could always bring up the class, bring up this individual student. When you run the report, just tick the one I want or ones I want, Ben and Abby, click the report button, and it says just the two selected. And choose the same report, borrow ID card with images, run the report, download it. You just got ID cards for those that you've selected. So you can either print for a whole class or individual students as required. Let's return to the list of borrowers. At the beginning of the year, if there's new staff that arrive at the school who are working in the library, or if you yourself are new to the library, you'll need to have your user role adjusted in Oliver so you can access all the relevant functions. The user role determines which parts of Oliver you can see when Oliver is opened. The changing of the user role is done via AMU. This is outside of Oliver. Either the school principal or a delegate will have to sign those user roles for Oliver access using AMU. You can see on the screen an example of what the AMU screen looks like, and it lists staff names on the left-hand side and what their role would be. You simply tick which role they are. So in this case, in Minnie Mouse doesn't access the library at all, so it's just simply leave it empty. But Mickey Mouse is allowed to be a library assistant level 1. So the principal or delegate would have to go into AMU and tick the appropriate user roles for the Oliver staff. The different roles that are available in order of most access to least access, the very top level is called Library Administrator, and this is usually the teacher librarian. If you don't have a teacher librarian in the library, you can still have a library administrator. You don't need to be a TL to be a library administrator, it's just the name it's given. And the library administrator has access to all areas of Oliver. The level just below this teacher librarian. Again, you don't need to be a teacher librarian to have a teacher librarian access. It's just the name it's been given. And this level of access is almost the same as library administrator, except you can't make some settings such as parameters and security settings. So it's almost the highest level, but not quite as library administrator. The other levels are quite a bit more restrictive. Library assistant L1 or level 1. This level of security can do cataloging and circulation as well as searching. Library assistant level 2 can just do circulation, do loans and returns type work and searching. And finally, the entry level user role is borrower. All students and all staff are initially borrower. And borrower means you can access the Oliver search screen. You can place reservations if you allow them to. They can write book reviews if you allow them to. You can see your own loans. You can see your own loan history. So it basically allows you to see information about yourself on the search screen. Otherwise, if you are a new staff member or a last new staff member arriving in the library, AMU needs to be used. to adjust those staff to have the relevant level of security for Oliver. End recording. The beginning of the year is a great time to review your library news page. This is the first page, potentially the first page that students see when they open up Oliver. And although the beginning of the year is a great time to do it, you can do this any time of the year. On the news page you're looking at the moment, we've got access to the edit buttons, the pencils and the rubbish bins, because we're logged in as an administrator. We have access to those buttons. Looking at the Premier's Reading Challenge, it's still got the 2022 image. It's now not 2022, so we could always use the edit button, the pencil, and we could change the number to be 2023, just change the heading to be 2023. And the image itself, we could remove the image just by dragging it off and then selecting another image to put in there. I don't have that image at the moment, so I'll leave it as 2023. Actually, I might just remove it altogether. Click on Save. You know, so it says 2023 Start Reading Now. When the image for 2023 Premier's Reading Challenge becomes available, you could use the Edit button. Locate the image that you've got stored on your computer locally. I've just used another image to show you how it will work. Any image is fine. Then you could simply put the image in there and resize it as necessary. I know it's not a PRC image, but you've got the idea. Move it around if necessary, or just resize it. Just scrolling down a little, we've also got the 2021 Children's Book Council of Australia shortlist books in the library. And this information is still current. They were shortlisted 2021 books. But again, things that are date related might be an idea to always keep up to date. I'm just going to edit this information box, which is a slider. Change it to 2022. Now, the way sliders are set up, which is lists of resources, is you can set them up to do a certain search. So it's looking for things that are parts of lists. So instead of searching for the 2021 list, we'll change it to say, let's search for the 2022 lists. So anything that's date related, you could always just change that accordingly as well. There's another one there. There's quite a few in the shortlisted resources. We'll save that. So a couple of things we've done there. We've changed the actual heading to be 2022, and we've also changed the search results to show just the 2022 resources. With news pages, remember you can change the position of them or hide information boxes. So if you didn't want to show the Gallipoli resource straight away at the beginning of the year, you could always edit the information box and hide it. To hide information box, you simply click Show in Search and untick the box. So we can still see the Gallipoli box, but no one else can. Hidden boxes aren't seen by anyone except the person who can maintain the pages. In fact, when you're looking at the news page, if you'd like to see what the everyone else can see, you click Preview News. This gives you the end user view. So in this case, they won't see that box at all. Any hidden boxes won't be shown. Beginning of the year is also a good idea to put up upcoming events or news for students. Example, don't forget your library bags. So you can add more information. I'm going to add an information box, which is an image box. I'm going to put an image in that might be an eye-catching type image. Let's put a unicorn there. Make it a little larger. Maybe pop in the left-hand corner. And let's put in the heading and for the library bag. And in the text area, you'll need to bring your library bag. Otherwise, you can't take any library books home. save that. Yeah, so don't forget your library bag information box we just created, and it's wrapped the text around it. We probably want that at the top of the screen. So we'll just change the layout and drag that to the top of the screen where the Glibly box was. Let's move the Glibly box out of the way. Don't forget your library bag, and we can resize that as well. Change the layout. Just resize it, so it takes up a little less space. You can resize by just dragging the right-hand corners. There we go. So anything you'd like to bring to people's attention, put the front page, even change the colours if you like edit that. Don't forget your library bag. Change the colours that might stand out a little bit. Green. Even change the heading to be a bit larger. And we'll put a border around it just to make it look nice. A black border, make it 2 pixels wide. Save that. There we go. Don't forget your library bag. If you don't want that information box to show at a certain time, just use the edit button and untick show and search. So any information boxes you're still creating or don't want to show, just hide them. When you want them to show again, edit the information box and show and search again. Oliver allows you to attach photos to borrower records, either individually or in bulk. To do this individually, you can go to the circulation menu and search for borrowers. I'm just going to search for staff. And to add a photo to someone, you click on the number next to their name. And to attach a photo, you click the upload borrower image. So you need the borrower photo stored on your computer somewhere. This is good for attaching photos one at a time. So upload the photo, choose the file, locate the file on your computer. It needs to be stored on your computer. And choose the upload button in the top left-hand corner. And the photo appears in the top right-hand corner. And this photo will also appear in Circulation Desk when you select the name. If the photo is incorrect, you could always remove or replace the image using the buttons on the screen. You can also attach photos to borrowers in bulk. And this is done in the management menu in the import section. The option to select is borrower images. And for borrower images, you need to select a file to import. The file needs to be a zip file with all the photos in it. And each photo needs to be named the same as each borrower's alias. So in the case of students, each photo would have to be named as their SRN or 9-digit student number. In the case of staff, each photo would have to be named the same as their DTID, like John.Smith. Once you've selected that file, you click the upload button and the process will then be undertaken. In this case, it'll be done overnight during the housekeeping process. There are some help files available as well, showing you how to import photos in bulk. And as well as that, there is a help file available, some further documentation telling you how to identify borrowers that don't have an image, so you can go through and fill in all the blanks. Sometimes you need to change the due date of loans in bulk. One example of this is at the beginning of the year, you might wish to renew all the staff's or extend all the staff's loans for their teacher resources. They're just going to use the same resource they used last year, so you could extend the loan dates in bulk. Another example is where you might extend students' loan dates for, say, the textbooks. Maybe at the end of the last year, the Year 11s took out a textbook, and you want to make sure the due dates for those Year 11 textbooks is now due at the end of Year 12. The way to do this in bulk is to go to the circulation menu and choose loans. The loans screen allows you to search for a group of loans that you'd like to change or report on. The first example, I'll search for the borrower type of staff, so all the staff loans. but only those things which are part of the teacher reference section. So staff loans in the teacher reference collection, and search for those loans. Those loans will be displayed on the screen. As you can see, these loans are due at the end of November 2022. We want to extend that to 2023. So to do this in bulk, we can go to the Loans drop-down menu and choose Bulk Extend Loans and type in the new date. We can either type in the date or choose the calendar. I'm going to choose November 23, 2023. If you want to email staff to let them know that you've extended the loans, you can tick the box or send them an email as well. Otherwise, just click Submit and confirm by clicking the triangle to say you'd like to proceed. The loans that you selected and searched for have now been changed accordingly. We go back to You Are Here. You could go back to the list of loans and see the new due date is now 2023. Another example is extending student loans, perhaps. So again, we can go to Circulation and Loans. On the search screen, I'm going to this time search for Year 11, Scholastic Year 11, and just the collection textbooks. When you're performing the search, you can also search on things such as date due. So instead of relying on a collection, you might rely on the dates of the items are due. So textbooks Year 11 students, click on search. And to extend those loans, the same way we did before, from the Loans drop-down menu, choose Bulk Extend Loans, enter the new date. In this case, we're going to make an October date because at the end of that year, the Year 12s finish a little earlier. I might make it October 2024. 23rd, and submit. And the loans have been extended. So all of that's done in the circulation menu under Loans. Search for loans you'd like to change. Several different combinations of search you could do. And then bulk extend as required. If you require help using Oliver, there's some inbuilt help files available for download. These are accessed using the question mark in the top right-hand corner of each screen. The help files are searchable. So in the top left-hand corner, you can search a particular area, or if you're not sure where to search, you can search all articles, and then type in the search term that you're looking for. For example, if we said something like stocktake, search, and the stocktake help files are displayed. The stocktake help files are displayed as links. Clicking a link will display the help file in PDF format. This can be read on the screen and includes screenshots as well, step-by-step instructions. These PDF files can be read on the screen, downloaded, or printed as necessary. When you're viewing help files, we also display related help files at the bottom of each screen. Those help files which have the letters DOE at the end of their name have been written specifically for department schools. If you require further assistance or something doesn't quite go to plan, you can also contact the library information officers at the department for assistance. They can access your Oliver system anytime remotely and see exactly what is going on if necessary. And to ask for help, there's a how-to request button available in the top left-hand corner of the help screen. When you select the how-to request button, a pre-filled in form is displayed for you, which includes your name and contact details. It's not filled in at the moment for me because I'm logged in as in a training system, but when you use it in your live system, your details will be filled in. And all you need to do is just add extra information such as which module you're dealing with or which part of Oliver you're looking at, a subject, and the details of what the issue is or the further assistance that you require. Please provide as much information as possible, including step-by-step instructions as to how you got to the point or what you're trying to achieve or why you're trying to achieve it. If appropriate, include examples of which borrowers you're looking at, which catalogue records, which barcodes, if there's anything specific which will help the issue. And where possible, or where appropriate, attach screenshots of what's going on. If there's a message appearing on the screen or something's not displaying as expected, please include screenshots. The more information you provide, the quicker and more accurate their reply will be. Once you've entered this information, simply click the Submit button at the bottom of the screen, and the library information officers will get back to you in due course. Remember, the library information officers can access your system live. So if you do provide step-by-step instructions or screenshots of what's occurring, they can try to replicate or resolve the issue very quickly and easily.